starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco, and we begin tonight with rising prices and frustration at the gas pump because after weeks of cooling, things are once again heating up. And on the West Coast, they're also outpacing the rest of the country. Catherine Cook went to fill up to find out why.
I pulled in and I saw it was $6 a gallon. I think it's unbelievable.
From sticker shock,
it's a lot.
Yeah, that's insane.
To frustrated resignation.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's been going up since, I don't know, how long.
However it makes you feel, the price of gas in Oregon is most certainly going up again.
And the numbers are a little bit shocking. They're not as bad as what we saw near the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but still a huge increase this week.
Marie Dodds with AAA Oregon says since last week, our statewide average is up 35 cents a gallon to $5.01. It's the first time we've been over $5 since August. In Washington, the average price rose 30 cents to $4.92. But nationwide, the national average is only up a nickel. So what gives? Dodd says, first of all, gas prices on the West Coast are always a little bit higher than the rest of the country due to tight supplies. And anytime there's a glitch in supply or distribution, gas prices can climb.
And that's exactly what we're seeing this week. We have a handful of refineries in California, in the Los Angeles area, that are either undergoing planned or unplanned maintenance. That can take several days. We also had issues at a refinery in Washington state.
On top of that, Dodd says the Olympic pipeline is due for maintenance in the next couple of weeks. She says some of the planned maintenance at refineries includes switching over from their summer blend to winter blend gasoline.
Nobody understands winter blend, summer blend, all that kind of stuff, but I'm just trying to get to work.
Dodd says relief is on the way. Several factors suggest gas prices will eventually come down by late fall or winter.
But how low they go is anyone's guess.
If you're trying to remember what you paid for gas a year ago, Oregon's average was $3.73 a gallon. That's $1.28 cheaper than today's average. And while prices should come down, Dodd says the bad news is they're likely to get worse before they get better.
Hang on, buckle up, because it's a bumpy ride over the next couple of weeks with these supply issues and refinery issues.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
A bumpy ride. Here we go. All right, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. Portland police are searching for a man they say groped a teenage girl at a bus stop. The assault took place around 8:45 this morning near Southeast Cesar Chavez and Powell Boulevard. Investigators say the man groped the 15-year-old's chest and made lewd comments. She screamed. A driver heard her and helped her get away. Police describe the suspect now as a white man with tan skin, about 5'8", with silver hair and long gray facial hair. They say he was wearing all gray clothing and carrying 2 black trash bags. Clark County has picked David Shook, a deputy who ran for sheriff in the primary, as its director for the new Jail Services Department. The new department will take over jail operations from the sheriff's office. The idea is to free up the sheriff to focus on law enforcement. Now, larger counties like King and Spokane say they have had success with similar systems. This comes at a time when the Clark County Jail has been dealing with staffing challenges and overcrowding. Clark County deputies, by the way, now searching for whoever vandalized cars in the Hazel Dell area. This is overnight Saturday into Sunday. Damage along Northwest Overlook Drive and Hazel Dell Way shows what appears to be traces of holes left by BBs, along with lots of smashed car windows.
It's not a matter of if we catch them, it's a matter of when, because there's a lot of people in this neighborhood that have been hit. Several people in this neighborhood have cameras on their houses. We have audio, visual, we will catch you.
There you go. That's from one of the neighbors. The sheriff's office is asking people with cameras that may have recorded the suspects to please come forward. Well, let's talk about Portland's gun violence epidemic with 2 more fatal shootings over the weekend. One person was killed in Northwest Portland near Wallace Park. Another was shot and killed in Northeast. Now, these new homicides, which have Portland on pace to meet or break last year's homicide record, come as the mayor approved some new tech that proponents hope will make a difference, though others aren't so sure. Mike Benner has an update on Shot Spotter.
Since the start of the year, there have been more than 960 shootings in Portland, approximately 59 of those deadly. In fact, just this past weekend, a woman was shot and killed at Wallace Park in Northwest Portland, and 26-year-old Martise Oliver of Washington State was shot and killed outside a hotel near Northeast 82nd and Sandy. Just days before these shootings, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler approved the idea of putting together a pilot proposal for the gunshot detection technology ShotSpotter. ShotSpotter is a system of audio sensors that alert police to where and when shots are fired. The sensors are typically mounted on buildings and light posts in neighborhoods that see a lot of violence. Proponents believe ShotSpotter would help police respond to more shootings, improve response times, and evidence gathering, among other things. Critics, however, say ShotSpotter is incredibly flawed. Here's attorney Kat Mahoney.
Chances are these are going to be set up in neighborhoods that are already heavily policed or already have stereotypes of being crime heavy. And it's going to be over policing and probably perpetuate the biases that already exist among Black and brown communities.
I wouldn't call it over policing. I would say that we have been underserved. We're underserved given the number of shooting incidents that are happening in the Black and brown communities.
And that was Ed Williams, chair of the Focused Intervention Team Community Oversight Group, or FITCOG for short. They first recommended this technology to the mayor, who has since approved putting together a pilot proposal. Once that's complete, it'll go to City Council for a vote. They'll have the final say on whether or not we see this technology in Portland on a trial basis. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
Well, from record homicides to Portland's homeless crisis and a police sergeant who finds himself in the middle of it every day. Our Blair Best spent a shift alongside Sergeant Matt Jacobson. He leads the city's Central Precinct Neighborhood Response Team. Now, it covers everything from campers causing disturbances to drug use and violence to helping people get off the streets and into housing.
We hear a lot about, hey, the police should engage in our homeless population because of mental health nexus or whatever it is. Yeah. And I think sometimes those are short-sighted. What we do is so relationship-based with our folks outside that we may be the only cops that they feel comfortable reporting something to.
Well, Blair's full report is up now on KGW.com. It is an eye-opening look from a different perspective at the issues officers and those living on the streets are dealing with each and every day. $4 million in federal funding is officially now on the way to boost Oregon's firefighting efforts. As our Catherine Cook reported, more than $2 million of that is going to Portland Fire and Rescue. The funds are going to help hire more firefighters and fully reopen Station 23. Now, that's in southeast Portland near Powell in Milwaukee. The rest of the funding will go to the Albany Fire Department and also to the Scappoose Rural Fire District. Well, let's talk about COVID boosters tonight with a KGW viewer reaching out to share they were having a hard time getting the Moderna version. Now, the Oregon Health Authority tells us that's apparently because of a delay in delivery. So in a statement, OHA said Moderna has now made additional doses available with a supply of about 30,000 headed for Oregon. OHA says it started to allocate those as of last Friday. It is not clear how long the distribution is going to take, but they recommend checking with your health provider or using OHA's vaccine finder tool that is online. And as some people look to get an updated booster, they are also asking if it is safe to get a flu shot at the same time. You know, let's hope so, since I did it Friday. Pfizer in this one, flu here. Brandon Lewis picks up the story in tonight's Verify.
Walk into any pharmacy and you're probably inundated with advertisements urging you to get a flu shot and an updated COVID-19 booster. Several people on social media are wondering if it's safe to get both vaccines at the same time, or if they should space the two shots out. So let's verify. Can a person get the Omicron COVID-19 booster and the flu shot at the same time? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Food and Drug Administration, Dr. Pyle Coley with the University of Colorado, and Dr. Sarah Lynn Mark, a former senior medical advisor to the White House. Traditionally, the flu vaccine is administered in the fall, ahead of peak flu season in the winter. For the past 2 years, we've also seen cases of COVID-19 spike during these same months as people gather for the holidays. The CDC studied self-reported data from more than 92,000 people who received a booster shot and a flu shot during the flu season and concluded it's safe to administer both vaccines at the same time. The study found that about 10% more people who received both vaccines reported typical symptoms associated with them, like fatigue, headache, and muscle ache, than those who only received the COVID-19 booster. But the reactions were usually mild and went away quickly. So yes, a person can get the Omicron COVID-19 booster and the flu shot at the same time. Both Drs. Coley and Mark tell Verify getting the two shots together is more convenient and may encourage more people to get vaccinated against the flu and COVID-19. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.